real problem here? Did you cut corners and did you not pay enough attention to safety? The fact that following the EUA, we have continued to follow very carefully any possibility of adverse events, I believe, is the other side of the coin of hesitancy. It should reinforce in those individuals how we take safety so seriously. So as opposed to looking this as a negative safety issue, it could be looked at as a positive issue where they know that when we let a vaccine be available and give it a go-ahead to be put into the arms of the American people, we do it with a considerable degree of confidence as to its safety. So when I get asked questions about whether or not this has set us back from a hesitancy standpoint, I give the opposite of it, namely what I've just explained. So with that, let's get back to Jeff.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Thank you, Dr. Walensky. Why don't we open it up for a few questions?
Thank you. And a reminder, guys, we don't have a ton of time today, so please keep your question to one question. First, we will go to Cheyenne Haslett at ABC.
Hi, thanks for taking this question. I wonder, are you prepared to increase Pfizer or Moderna to states in the case that people are too concerned to go with J&J, even if the pause is lifted?
So we are going to continue to allocate doses the way we've described in the past, which is based on states' population, adult population. There is plenty of supply in the system. For the last 3 weeks, we've distributed or made available more than 25 million doses of Pfizer and Moderna. This week, we shipped out 28 million doses through our state and federal channels. So there is plenty of supply in the system of Moderna and Pfizer, including to replace J&J appointments with Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. And that's happening as we speak throughout the country. Next question.
Victoria Knight, Kaiser Health News.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. My question is about vaccine passports. I know the federal government, you guys have repeatedly said you're not going to maintain a federal database, but does that mean you're just going to leave it up to every state to track it? What is your plan if people lose their vaccination cards? It just seems like it could become kind of a hot mess if someone is not overseeing everyone's vaccinations.
So you're right. Let me be clear that the government is not now, nor will we be supporting a system that requires Americans to carry a credential. There'll be no federal vaccination database, no federal mandate requiring everyone to obtain a single vaccination credential. As these tools are being considered by the private and not-for-profit sectors, our interest is simple, and that's about protecting Americans' privacy and their rights so the systems aren't used unfairly. So we will make sure that consumers' protections are first and foremost in the private and not-for-profit sector efforts, but there will be no federal government system in place. Next question.
Aaron Billups, Spectrum News.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. In light of new variants circulating and the need to vaccinate as many people as possible, what is the plan to combat growing vaccine hesitancy on the ground in the wake of the J&J pause? Does the CDC have plans to work with, say, community health centers and local governments and help them with this?
Why don't I go first there, and then Dr. Fauci and Walensky, if you want to add anything. I think you're absolutely correct that building vaccine confidence is critical to making sure Americans get vaccinated when it's their turn. And we have a robust campaign to increase vaccine confidence. We've allocated $3 billion to community-based organizations, as you point out, to increase vaccine access and confidence in hard-hit and hard-to-reach places. We built the COVID-19 Community Corps to get local leaders key information about the vaccines. All the research shows that people look to leaders in their communities for counsel and advice on issues like whether they should get vaccinated. And we're ramping up our targeted paid media efforts in multiple languages to increase confidence. Leading with science, as Dr. Fauci talked about, and giving Americans the facts they need is central to building that vaccine confidence. And I think yesterday's action should give the American people increased confidence in the FDA and CDC, the seriousness of the review process, and the steadfastness of their commitment to transparency. And we're already hearing from leaders, and Dr. Fauci, you should comment on this, that experts in the communities appreciate how the FDA and CDC are handling this situation with J&J, and that's in fact helping them to build confidence at the local level. Dr. Fauci, anything to add there?
Just one issue that's just very fresh in my mind, and that had to do with the COVID-19 community core. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy and I addressed the group last night. They were on the Zoom, literally 2,000 people. Could you imagine that on Zoom? In which we spoke about just what you're talking about, explaining to them what has gone on and why they need to get out there as trusted members of the community and explain to people why this was done and why we feel that that's an important part of the safety that we like to guarantee whenever we get products into the arms of people.
Okay, next question.